A British friend asked me a question once. I haven't seen any other society where wealth or Lakshmi is actually worshipped. How come India is socialist then? Where did you guys lose your way? And that got me thinking. You see, communism's dead, capitalism's failing. Look at poverty rates in the US. They've stayed flat for 50 years. An average family spends $10,200 on healthcare every year. And half of black and Hispanic kids are poor or extremely poor. Pure communism and pure capitalism just don't work. So is there another model that exists? A model that is balanced in its approach? For that, we should look closer towards our own indigenous economic model. Colonization introduced the command and control structure into our economy. Now, post-1947, our leaders were all too keen to continue that imported mindset to perpetuate the idea of the state as a provider rather than to revert to a model rooted in our ancient wisdom. Let's not forget, Christopher Columbus was looking for India when he lost his way to America. Funnily, in his letter of first voyage, where he explains why he was looking for India, he mentions the word gold 17 times, while mentioning the word Lord and God only once. The Mughals and the British actually got to India and enriched their coffers for centuries. So in short, India's wealth and heritage has been a subject of civilizational plunder for ages. Shouldn't we recreate whatever created that wealth in the first place? Western economies were founded on military-industrial complexes. These large, centrally controlled behemoths have transitioned into modern-day corporations. The Indian economy, on the other hand, was always about micro-enterprises. The neighborhood pansari, the bullock cart driver, the barber, the farmer, they were all entrepreneurs in their own right. The very idea of Shubh Labh and Riddhi Siddhi means that prosperity and profit are not pariah, but the very core of human endeavor. That social prosperity and business profit cannot coexist in isolation. Centuries before the phrase monetization was coined, Chanakya said, "In the absence of fruitful economic activity, both current prosperity and future growth are in danger of destruction." Ages before asset utilization was coined, he said, "The value of land is what man makes of it." He also laid down very specific rules and rates for taxation, focusing on being above all fair and just. They also laid down the government's responsibility towards prudent use of that tax and social goals that this revenue would drive. The idea of dan, charity, and punya kamana, literally earning merit points ostensibly to offset the negative impact on ecology and society, is centuries old. Now, sounds eerily similar to the modern carbon credits, doesn't it? Compared to the unidimensional understanding of wealth in capitalistic societies, the Indic tradition identifies 8 different types of Lakshmi. Adi Lakshmi, which is primary wealth, Dhana Lakshmi, which is monetary wealth, Dhanya Lakshmi, the wealth of grains, Veera Lakshmi, the wealth of courage, Gaja Lakshmi, the wealth of power and prestige, Santana Lakshmi, the wealth of offspring, Aishwarya Lakshmi, the wealth of affluence, and Vijay Lakshmi, the wealth of victory. Clearly, there's a wealth of wisdom that is yet to be tapped. Look at the West today. Wages have flattened out. Work conditions for many are beyond inhumane. Most families are steeped in student debt and homeowner debt. It is plain simple misery for the other 99%. So what can India do with their wealth of experience? Well, nations are formed with brute force. Civilizations are formed on ideas, on concepts, on models. It's time for India to get ambitious and export our own economic model. I call it Dharmicism, one that is rooted in our ancient wisdom and tested over time. So, what is Dharmicism? 1. In capitalism and communism, risk rests with either yourself or the state. In Dharmicism, you take the risk but with an obligation to serve society with the gains. 2. In capitalism and communism, it's the fight for rights, individual rights versus community right. Dharmicism is not about rights at all, but about responsibility. 3. Capitalism and communism is a fight between the cultures of consumption versus a culture of frugality. Dharmicism is rooted in the culture of preservation. 4. Capitalism is unidimensional, with a focus on profits, and more profits. Dharmicism, on the other hand, is about being fair, that profits cannot come at the detriment of the people and the planet. 5. Dharmicism, like capitalism, espouses private ownership of assets, but with a trusteeship focus. Wealth, assets, intellectual property, all of it stays with the owner, like in capitalism, which incentivizes entrepreneurs to innovate and grow. But all of these are tools to fulfill their responsibilities, their dharma. This isn't just an anti-capitalist bohemian rant. The rise of conscious capitalism, impact investing, the giving pledge, etc. point to the guilt-ridden reparative approach that capitalists realize they should take. Am I suggesting we blindly follow archaic wisdom? No. Am I claiming there won't be chinks in the process? Absolutely not. However, it is indeed time to acknowledge that civilizations are only strengthened when they build on continuity. It is time India shed the Western lens and stopped importing failed economic models. It is time to realize Vishwaguru status cannot be got without pushing our own indigenous economic model, Dharmicism. This is Anuraag Saxena for Upward. Hi. Upward is doing their bit by bringing you these amazing videos, by reminding you of our civilizational view. You do your bit by supporting them, by donating generously to their cause, and make sure that this sustains beyond time.